Hi guys, it's Vincent Trio, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be ranking all of the companions from worst to best. So let's get into this. First off, we have Rose. Series 1 Rose, very good companion. Series 2 Rose, puts her down to good. I think in the first series, she's great as a companion. She's got quite a different character because the Doctor at this point is quite old. He's seen a lot of bad things, and that's like his whole kind of character. But she's quite young. She hasn't really experienced the world. She's quite arrogant, and she just kind of wants to get out there. So they have like a good yin and yang. But then with the 10th Doctor, she does have that again. She has got chemistry with David Tennant, but it's the fact that it's just the whole love thing. It doesn't really work for me, and I think it affects my viewership of other characters as well. Then we got Mickey, very good character. I think Mickey is a bit of an odd one because he changes a lot. When we first meet him in Rose, he's quite a scared cat. He's quite scared of this alien feeling. Then when we meet him again in the Slovene two-parter, he seems to have got over that fear and become more informed about these aliens and stuff like that. And then by the time we meet him at the end of Doomsday, I mean, he has appeared after that. He does appear in Sandman and stuff. But then when we meet him again in Doomsday, he's completely different to what we first saw in Rose. And that's pretty cool character. Then got Adam. He's not very good. He's just a bit annoying, really. Then you got Captain Jack Harkness, a great character. Really like Captain Jack. He has great chemistry with all the Doctors that he appears with, and he's just quite funny. We've got Martha next. Now Martha's a difficult one for me. I think the thing with Martha is I think she's definitely better than Rose in terms of Series 2 Rose, putting her down. But I think the thing is they're in that love triangle in Series 3, and it's really annoying up until the end. But she leaves by the time she realises that she doesn't really love the Doctor anymore. But then in Series 4, when she returns, in the Sontaran two-parter, she gets put in the back, at the back of it with the fact that she gets replaced by a clone, and then the Doctor's daughter, she barely appears until the end, after she gets separated from the Doctor at the beginning. And then Stolen Earth and Journey's End, I think there was a lot going on, but maybe with the exception of Sarah Jane, I think her storyline was the shortest. I mean, because you got the Doctor and Donna's storyline, which was the longest one, that they most explored, more or less. Then you have the Rose one and the Jackie and Mickey one; those are also quite explored. Then the Captain Jack one, and Torchwood, which kind of intertwined with Jackie and Mickey and Sarah Jane eventually and stuff. So her storyline kind of just gets put on the back burner, and it's a bit annoying. Then we have the one-off companion that Kylie Minogue plays, Astrid Peth. I think no, it's not Astrid Peth. I don't know, but she's okay. She's a good, decent companion, but she just isn't that good. I think for the issue with her is she's quite one of those characters where she's like, she's all lovey of the Doctor, and it's just doesn't really work. Then we got Donna, excellent character. Really like Donna. I think she's funny. She just is funny. She lifts up loads of scenes, and also there's just scenes where she genuinely puts the Doctor's ideals to the test. I mean, the bit where she just tries to get the Doctor to just save one family is in the Fires of Pompeii. It's the standout part of that story. It's really good. Then River Song, who obviously I think must have appeared with the most Doctors, maybe Sarah Jane beating her. In that respect, yeah. Good. I think very good. She's better than Mickey. I think the issue I have with River Song is that she worked well with the 10th Doctor, she worked well with the 12th Doctor, but I think her chemistry was less, obvious with the 11th Doctor. It felt like she had to try more in some scenes. Not to say they didn't have chemistry. I think by the end of Matt Smith's run, in their final ones in the Series 7, she seemed to have a lot more chemistry with him. But I find that if you rewatch The Time of Angel, Flesh and Stone, she seems to she seems to have a lot less chemistry with Matt Smith than she did with David Tennant. But then she comes back with Peter Capaldi, and it's really good again, because I think it would have been nice to see more Peter Capaldi with a song than with Matt Smith, because I think Capaldi has that better. I don't know. He just had a better chemistry with her. Then we got the specials with four different for companion people stand-ins for the one-off stories. You got Jackson Lake. I mean, you got to give the actor a credit where credit's due. He does play him quite well. I think the issue with him is he doesn't. I think it's the whole cop out of it. It's obviously just a title, The Next Doctor. So you think, oh, they have announced that David Tennant's leaving, so everyone knows David Tennant's leaving. So you think, well, what if he meets his next incarnation, and that's the whole point? But then it's the fact is that rather than the whole story revolving around this character who is pretending to be the Doctor or who thinks he's the Doctor and trying to make that a storyline, intertwine it, and make it turn out that he's not at the end of it or revealed but near the end. They kind of get it out the way quite early on, and it does kind of ruin it, because I think David Tennant was quite funny trying to pretend that he's not the Doctor while still being the Doctor. And I think it's not the actor's fault. He plays what he's got well. It's the character having what it should be a big reveal so quickly brushed aside, and then they move on to what is the child and the wife and all that storyline. Then you got Christine D'Souza. She's just a bit annoying. She's definitely better than Adam, but she's just a bit annoying. I think the thing with her is she's quite obnoxious. She feels like a more obnoxious version of Romana, because Romana is obviously like another Time Lord, like the Doctor. So she's quite smart and quite intellectual. And then Christine D'Souza is trying to be those same things. She's trying to be smart, intellectual, well prepared for anything, and like that. But she does it in such a way which it does kind of just feel a bit annoying. Maybe the story doesn't help her either. I think the story is a bit slow. The stuff with Unit's pretty cool, but apart from that, I think her story is quite slow, which does maybe hinder her as a character, because there's a lot more. It's a lot more character driven than maybe some of the other stories. Like with Astrid Peth, who I think it's Astrid Peth who goes in the Voyage of the Damned. The Kylie Minogue character, she just kind of is with the Doctor, so it's not as character driven. It's more about the story and the plot. Wherever in this, it's quite a lot more character driven, and I think that means that you can see that she's quite a bit of she's a bit more obnoxious and trying to be like the Doctor, in a sense, which it just doesn't really work. Then you got Adelaine. And, she's not she's definitely the best, in my opinion, out of all of the people who did the one-off stuff. But it's just, okay, she's at the top of good, but I think she can go to very good. It's the scene with the 10th Doctor where he says that no one can stop him. And she's like, I don't care who you are. The Time Lord Victorious is wrong. That is a really good scene. I mean, the fact that not only it's, as she stood up to the Doctor, she's more or less gone, right, well, I was supposed to die, you've told me I was supposed to die, and then you saved me. And rather than being happy like some people might have been, and similar to how like the other people who were there survived and stayed alive, she realised that she needed to preserve the timeline. I do think the one drawback of the story rather than her character is more the fact that the story is quite unusual. It's odd, I think, mainly because it is obviously trying to set up the fact that Time Lords do return in the next episode, so it's like, well, no one can stop him in this. And then he's gone too far, and then at the end of time, the Master returns and the Time Lords kind of return for a little bit. But it's just a bit annoying because we never really see this side to him before, not really, even really with Christopher Eccleston. And rather than them going, oh, here's a little bit of David Tennant's darker side, and we'll develop this with Matt Smith maybe, because Russell T Davies stepped down, it felt like quite a big plot hole. And then they've tried to capitalize on it a bit now with the Time Lord Victoria stuff, but it didn't really work. But not much to do with the character, just something to do with the story. Then you got Wilf, who's a funny character. It's his it's just funny when he just says the signature line, "It's them aliens again." That's really funny. Yeah, he's just an all round pretty funny character. Then you got Amy. Yeah, she's very good. Actually, I think she's worse. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put her there. She's definitely a lot better than Mickey. I don't want to put her lower than Mickey. I think the issue with her is she's great in season 6 and she's great in season 7 for what she's in of series 7. But her issue is that I find that in series 5, her the way I mean, obviously every actor gets better with time, but I think even Karen Gillan who said this herself, that if she could, she'd definitely go back and redo her role, as she does think that it's not her best work, which I do agree with her in some parts. I do think in series 5 she's not actually as good as she could be, but apart from that, I think she's pretty good, but that's why I can't put her any higher. Then we got Rory. I mean, Catherine Tate's funny, but I don't know why no one thinks about Arthur Darvill when they think comedy. He is so funny. Series 5 especially, he's really funny. Series 6, I was so happy that, obviously, I hadn't watched Series 6 for a long time, so when it came on, when I'd got, Netflix and stuff and I've watched it, I was so happy that Arthur Darvill was on the TARDIS team as a permanent person in Series 6. Because in Series 5, he was in the first episode, then he disappeared, then he came back, and then he just died, and then he came back at the end. But in Series 6, he was actually in it for all the way through, and he's really good in it. He's so funny. He's just Catherine Tate can definitely deliver line after line of comedy, but it's the fact that he's more subtle comedy, and he's more brave. It's just his bravery. He's just really good in this. Then we got Craig. Yeah, he's okay. He's okay, like Jackson Lake and the others. I think the thing in the Lodger, he's good, and it's quite a odd story. The Lodger, it's not your typical story. I think it's a decent story for what it is, but obviously it's not as much focused on Craig. It's more focused on the Doctor as a character trying to fit into normal life more than it is on Craig. But then I think in Closing Time, which I do think is one of Matt Smith's better stories, which is a bit of an unpopular opinion, he is really funny in it. He's really funny, and I think maybe what helps it is in the Lodger, although he doesn't get as much time as it's to shine, he does actually get a bit of character development. So it means that in Closing Time, it does actually feel like you know who this character is. So they don't have to spend this whole time setting up this new character, which means that Matt Smith and James Corden can start doing what they want to do. So yeah. Next we have the Paternoster Gang. Now, some people are not a fan of these guys. I think they're okay, with Madame Vastra being my least favourite, going on the bottom of okay. Jenny not really helping that much with another okay. But then Strax, is pretty funny. And I mean, I'm always, as you can tell from this ranking, I'm always up for a good comedy character. And Strax is really funny. Jenny and Vastra are just a bit annoying. I mean, I don't really know why they're in it. It just feels like they were in it for A Good Man Goes to War, just for the sake of having some more props or something. And then they just kept coming back, and it was a bit odd. And I think it was a smart decision at the end of Deep Breath to cut them off more or less completely. Then you got Clara. Clara is going to be here. I can't put her above. I can have to put her above Adelaide. She's a lot better than Adelaide. But I find with Clara is that in Series 7, I like Clara. I think Clara is actually quite an underrated companion in terms of Series 7, because I feel like for some reason it's odd. I don't know what it is about Clara, but in Series 7, she's quite, I don't know, she just feels like she had a completely different mood swing. In Series 7, she's this kind of younger character looking after these children, quite innocent. She's found this night Matt Smith, and they travel, and it's all fun. But then in Series 8, she seems to become more serious, more mature, and that doesn't feel like character development. It feels like the Doctor, at the end of the time of the Doctor, Clara died, and then at the beginning, the end of Deep Breath, Clara dies, and then at the beginning of Into the Dalek, the Doctor actually picks up picks up a different Clara or something like that, because she seems significantly older and more mature in season 8 and season 9, and I'm not sure what that reason is. It's a very odd thing, even to the point where it's quite odd because in Deep Breath she's quite normal, like she continued on, but from season into the Dark onwards she's more mature, and it's not like it's character development or anything, because it just happened so suddenly, which is why I'm not really a fan of Clara as character. Not because I think she's bad per se. I think it's just that her character is so unusually kind of irregular. It just doesn't really work. Then we got Nardole, comedy genius. Yeah, hilarious. He's really funny in his first couple of episodes. He's really funny in the season 10. He's just great. But we have my favourite new series companion so far is Bill. Yeah, maybe Bill would be lower. I think the good thing about Bill is Bill would definitely be lower. She'd probably be under Catherine Tate, but her chemistry with Capaldi is unparalleled. I think she probably has the best companion doctor relationship in terms in terms of chemistry. I think they work so well together. They have funny moments, and it does feel like a crotchety old man with a young person. It does kind of feel like Capaldi is more like a Hartnell character, and Susan and Bill are the similar characters. Maybe not in the sense that she screams all the time, but in the fact that they have a certain relationship. And it's obviously because it was kind of a jumping on point for the show. It does make sense that you try and do that a little bit for, it makes sense that you do that. Now we have the newest companions. Obviously Dan hasn't actually appeared so far, although he's been spotted filming Doctor Who, so we can't actually put him on this list. But we've got the 3 companions with Graham. Unfortunately, Graham is, in my opinion, the best of the 3, but he's still not very good. Bradley Walsh is great as a character. Bradley Walsh is great as an actor. I mean, he's actually quite good. He's funny. He's just charming, but he doesn't seem to have much of a chemistry with Jodie Whittaker. I don't know what that is, but it feels like because they tried to spend so much time making him have more of a relationship with Ryan, it feels like they forgot that he actually had to have a bit of a relationship with the Doctor. So it's more like Graham and Ryan have try and get their relationship going, when Yaz and the Doctor have more of a friendship. It's a bit unusual. Then we got Ryan, who's my least favourite companion. He can't. I'm not sure if it's the actor's fault or if it's the Chris Chibnall's fault, but his character is a bit bland. He doesn't seem to have much character development aside from riding a bike. All the episodes where they're significantly more focused on him, which I'm not saying much because it's literally probably Rosa, if you can count that as more focused on here, because he's black and it's more about black culture and stuff, so it's maybe more focused on him than anyone else. But maybe that one and the Can You Hear Me from Series 12. Apart from those 2 stories, he doesn't really do much. Even in a companion departure story, he doesn't do much. I mean, in the companion introduction, obviously Graham and Yaz also star in that as in the start, so it makes sense that maybe he didn't get as much time. But in his final story, considering Graham was fine to stay on, I mean, maybe Bradley Walsh wanted to leave, but Graham was fine to stay on, you'd think that maybe they'd give Ryan more time to shine, but he didn't do any. He did stuff, but he was never doing anything. He was just kind of following everyone else. And then last we have Yaz, who's obviously in between the 2. I think Yaz is a decent companion. She obviously has more chemistry with the Doctor, which I said, than the other 2 companions, which is good that she stayed on. However, I did kind of hope that she'd be with just the Doctor, so they possibly would have been able to explore Yaz a bit further, because although in Series 11 there was a couple of stories that were more Yaz focused, they never actually turned out to be Yaz focused. Like the Demons of the Punjab was clearly supposed to be a more Yaz focused story, but it turned out it was more about her family origins and the family, and then similar to it in the Arachnids in the UK, it was supposed to be more focused on her home life, but then it kind of deviated from that, and the family were there, but they weren't actually doing very much. But yeah, that's just my opinion on the new companions of the series. If you have enjoyed this video, please think considering liking and subscribing and watching another video. But yeah, see ya.